There's a valley in Spain called Jarama. It's a place that we
last summer, and as I said, the old guard just didn't want to do it.
Okay, we're here at the Progressive Center, and we have Brian Bodie right here ahead of us. And we've been having a discussion that's been going on about the nature of the Democratic Party platform as being probably more progressive than most of the state of Texas would indicate that it may be. So go ahead, Brian. Tell us why you're progressive and why you're involved in what you're believing about the platform and your thoughts about that.
You know, to me, there are only two real factions in America. There are those who support people and those who don't. And progressives support the people. We support
with my husband,
the freedom to make your own decisions about things. We support the government actually helping people out in times of need.
It was real easy to find.
Pulling people up rather than pushing them down.
Because his malpractice insurance company.
We are tolerant people who just want to see our country succeed and invest in the things that will lead to success in the future rather than just living the old fights of the past.
I saw an interesting quote in an article in the Financial Times just the other day. It said the author said Martin Wolf. He said, you know, if people think the government is the enemy, you know, how can they, and they seek to destroy it, then how can America survive?
Well, because people don't really see that. They may think that that's how they see it, but as soon as you ask them, do you want the government to get out of paying your Social Security?
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
Do you want the government to stop paying your for your health care? Hell no. The government does the things it does perfectly fine. You know, sure, you hear about corruption here, corruption there, but you know,
private industry has its own fair amount of corruption. Yeah.
There's plenty of corruption to go around. It's just there's this idea that the problem is exacerbated as soon as government gets involved, and that's just not the case generally.
Well, you know, I kind of like what FDR said. You know, was the purpose of government. In fact, is in the Democratic Party platform. It used to be is the purpose of government is for us to do together what we cannot do by ourselves.
Well, look at the post office versus UPS and FedEx right now. Whenever the post office goes to deliver mail, they in rural areas take the packages from FedEx and UPS and deliver them for them.
Right.
That's the role of the government.
Right.
Otherwise, those people could never get a UPS package or a FedEx package.
Right.
That's the government's responsibility, and anyone who says that the government needs to just get out of our lives completely is just living in a fantasy land, because they really do not understand the way the world works today. They don't.
Or they're drinking a lot of tea.
I don't know if they're drinking tea or smoking something funky, but
they're drinking mercury.
Mercury, that's right.
Well, thanks, Brian.
No problem.
We're going to talk to Jim Klein. Jim, you might want to back up just a little bit. This is good here. We got Jim Klein and Danny Lucio. And Jim is... Jim, you go ahead and tell us the things you've been involved in. And Danny, you too. Go ahead.
I currently the chair of the Clean Economy Coalition. I'm president of local chapter of the American Association of University Professors here in town. Past chair of the Progressive Populist Caucus game, as that folks know. So yeah, involved in a couple of different organizations in town.
Clean Economy Coalition. The Clean Economy Coalition was involved in the fight against Las Brisas?
Yeah, that's right.
And can you tell... How'd you get involved in that? I mean, tell us about that, a little bit about that fight, how it's gone. Is that a pretty good example of a progressive cause that... Looks like people were pretty successful at, carrying out a campaign against a huge corporation.
Yeah, I think it is really the case of David and Goliath. They still have a ton of money yet, and things are looking pretty good for us right now. But I'm not going to count any chickens just yet. We're going to keep on nailing nails in the coffin. Las Brisas until it's dead.
Quickly tell people, I can't imagine anybody doesn't know what Las Brisas is, but just real quickly tell them what it is and what kind of defeats they've had at the hands of local citizens groups.
Yeah, this is a company that wants to build a petroleum coke burning plant here in Corpus Christi to generate energy. Well, doing so, and this is, they laid all this out in their application to the state, is going to increase pollution in the area by 80%. It's going to increase mercury emissions, we just talked about mercury emissions a minute ago, lead emissions, carbon emissions, 8,000 tons of carbon dioxide every year. Particulate matter, sulfur into the air as well. It's just not a good thing. I mean, we don't need the energy.
And we already have higher asthma, childhood asthma, birth defect rates.
Than the rest of the state. And the state of Texas has a much higher rate of asthma problems than the rest of the country does.
Right.
So we're kind of the worst of the worst in that sense. And now I want to try to acerbate that. And that's why the medical doctors came out against it. The Nueces County Medical Society said, don't do this.
San Pat.
Yeah, San Pat, Aransas County, Refugio County. Dr. Wes Stafford said, if you build this thing, you're going to cause 100 premature deaths in Nueces County every year. People over the age of 70 are going to develop more heart ailments, more lung ailments than they otherwise would. You're going to shorten their lives. And the astonishing thing is that when the medical professionals said that to the elected local officials, they turned a blind eye. It's just astonishing to hear them ignore this medical expert advice. Simply because Las Brisas had a lot of dollars they were trying to bring into the community, or promising to bring into the community.
Tell us real quick about, why, how'd you guys stop this? I mean, you're talking about a huge corporation, you're talking about all the public officials are all lined up in support of this, with their hands out, of course. And so how'd you guys stop this?
Well, we had a lot of help. We did our part. We tried to get this into the news as much as possible, make people aware of it, because still, even now, a lot of people are only kind of dimly aware of what this is about. Once they become aware, I have yet to find anybody who's really in favor of this thing, unless they have money invested in it.
You had the largest public hearing in TCEQ history.
Yeah, that's right.
About 500 people turned out. That was kind of new.
They were expecting 2 dozen, I suppose. They had 500. The fire marshal came, had to shut it down. They had to relocate, which in and of itself, there are whole legal problems there, because they never, they broke, changed the venue. They never provided fair notice, 72-hour notice of the changed venue, all those sorts of things. Yeah, that demonstrates just how much opposition there was to this. But we have, as I said, had a lot of help from groups like the Sierra Club, the Environmental Defense Fund, the Clean Cities Coalition for Texas. All have provided just immeasurable assistance to us, legal and otherwise, expertise and advice.
But you guys, fought the permit and then ended up with some rulings? Just tell us kind of the series of rulings and decisions that were made, because I think that's pretty impressive. When you talk about citizens group up against huge corporations.
So we filed for a contested case. They had the hearing in 2009 and 2010, and in January 2011, the commissioners of the TCEQ, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, none of whom are experts, but rather are political appointees appointed by the governor, ruled in Las Brisas' favor, issued the air permit. Against the recommendation of the administrative law judges, against the recommendation of the Public Interest Council of the TCEQ itself, issued the air permit anyway. So, as a consequence of that, the Sierra Club and our group, the Clean Economy Coalition, joined them in this, filed a lawsuit against the TCEQ, saying that they had acted improperly in issuing that air permit. That case went to a hearing before a judge here back in May, and the judge's ruling then was about 3 weeks ago, now 4 weeks ago, was that the TCEQ messed up. Acted improperly in issuing this air permit. We're still waiting to hear yet now from the judge what he recommends the TCEQ do, or recommends Las Brisas do, whether they have to go back to the start of the permitting process, or they're going to be allowed to amend it in some way. We would obviously prefer that to go back to the very beginning. This permit was wrong-headed from the very beginning.
The EPA's also made some noise that they may not issue an operating permit no matter what happens in Texas, haven't they?
Yeah, and actually I was out in Washington, D.C. Last Tuesday, a couple of days ago, talking with some of the officials at the EPA and D.C. office, and they clarified that for me. They said they don't deny permits, but what they will do is make sure that an operating permit conforms to the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act.
Which is dispute with TCEQ and the EPA right now.
That's right. Those two pieces of legislation have been enforced now. The Clean Air Act is now 40 years old, 40 plus years old. Has been enforced now in 48 states. But not in Texas, not in Louisiana. And that's what the EPA now most recently has been trying to do, is trying to bring Louisiana and Texas into the 21st century, into the 20th century.
Yeah.
And the TCEQ is fighting them on that.
So right now it's just kind of wait and see, right? But also there's other factors that starting to look like the whole project's running out of steam for lots of reasons. Price of gas, the cost of getting the permits is getting challenging.
You know, I'm a cheapskate. If I were an investor at Las Brisas, I'd be very nervous. If I dropped $1,000, let alone $10,000 or $100,000 4 years ago,
right,
I hadn't seen one red cent. They had broken ground.
Right.
No shovel was turned.
It's probably more like 20 million, is my guess.
I suppose, yeah. I would be getting very nervous, and I think that's why you see Las Brisas doing things periodically to try to kind of shore up the confidence of their investors more than anything else. They have not broken ground, and so long as the Clean Economy Coalition has anything to say about it, they're not going to.
Thanks, Jim. Danny, you were part of this fight, and you're real involved in a lot of things here in town. What makes you call yourself a progressive, and what kind of things do you participate in that you think that are progressive issues and causes? And
I don't know. I don't necessarily like the way that the term progressive has
been stolen by the liberals.
Been kind of demonized since the progressive era, since the New Deal.
Right.
I think in general, I feel personally that I support things that support people, or the idea that a participatory democracy or more direct democracy is really what makes democracy works. And there are problems with capitalistic systems when taken to extreme. And, generally, the ideas that I believe in sit along a more progressive platform, or what people consider progressive. Things like protecting the environment for the sake of the commons, protection of health, ensuring the future of public education. These types of things are taken for granted and can easily be privatized and taken advantage of, dismantled. And it's that type of stuff that I try to stay involved in, and I don't know, I stay involved in an area. So that translates into a number of different things in here in Corpus, but in the state, on the state level. But it's an uphill battle. It really is with this type of political environment. And I think there's only so much you can do. You have to. I think the number one thing you can do is to bring more people and talk to them about it.
You can stay if you want.
And make sure that everyone around you is as cognizant of the issues as you are. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I know you're involved. Tell us some of the organizations you're involved with, or been involved with.
There's
I know
a number
you've done a
on the
lot.
environmental side. I mean, the CEC, in Surfrider, and Sierra. I've participated in a number of workshops for Sierra and Greenpeace on a state and national level, and organizing efforts as well. Locally, the Career Explorers, that's a mentoring program. I've been involved in the Clean City Committee. I serve on the Homeless Issues Partnership Board. I've been involved in the Uptown Neighborhoods Initiative. I am currently with the Coastal Bend Bays Foundation, both a project manager and a board of trustee member, and have brought in some different perspective on that. In my time as program manager, I've probably increased the funding 2 or 3-fold from what it was with public grant efforts, things like that. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff, and there's low-key stuff. You don't consider like you're necessarily involved in on an official level. Like I've been part of downtown projects and movements that never get publicized at all.
Right.
City or local media outlets. I mean, that's another thing with the area is we're dominated by particular entities within the local media market. It guides kind of public perception in the area of what is valid and what is not valid.
Right.
So, I try to be involved in as much as possible. Here at the Progressive Center, I'm the chair of the Progressive Caucus, the Progressive Populist Caucus of the Coastal Bend. We just had our meeting. We discussed a number of issues, including the new Democratic platform, which is much more progressive.
It better be fit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I try to stay involved in.
And I drink my fizzy water from King's.
That's about it.
Hey, Gail, why don't you come over here so I can get the light on your face over here? So otherwise, you're going to have the shadow. Come over here.
Yeah, you should
Come on, sit over here.
Here.
In fact, I'm going to move here, and you're going to move over here. Come on. Come on, over here, come on. Hurry. We're filming, come on. This is the rest of the crew down here, imbibing. We'll visit with them in a minute. All right. And Gail Lampier, you've been in the progressive group, member of the Progressives for, several years now? And what kind of issues are you concerned about, progressive issues? And what are your involvements in different activities here in town?
Certainly, public education is close to my heart. And
You have to speak up.
we have gotten involved with an education committee with the Center for Progressive Studies and Culture at Martin Middle School. And a group of us have been mentors for 3 years now, working with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And we have taken them on field trips to Del Mar College and Texas A&M in Corpus Christi and exposed them to careers in the sciences primarily. They've been able to look through microscopes, they handle snakes, they've been able to start IVs on dummies. And just that hands-on experience at this young age in a future career gives them a goal and gives them a hope. And our volunteers have provided mentoring and just encouragement with their possibilities for their future.
How many mentors are involved in this project?
Each year we have about 5 or 6 mentors that work with the students, and this past year we worked with 50 students.
Oh, wow.
In different classrooms.
And then there's a scholarship for some kids in this too?
Yes, over 3 years we have given a total of 11 scholarships to students, and they're at the amount of $500.
And they're for them to start their college education, right?
Right, it's kept in an account until they graduate from high school. But one of the students who just left Martin said that in the 6th grade she was awarded a $500 scholarship. And at that time her mother said that put her on a college track. Already at that age. And now as an 8th grader she's going to collegiate high school.
Cool.
We had 6 of the students that are going to, from the 8th grade class, that are going to collegiate high school, and 4 are going to the Moody Health Science program.
Awesome.
We're real proud of them. They've really done really well.
And you guys got an award this year from the district too, right?
CCISD.
Cool.
We're just real pleased with the opportunity to be involved with Martin Middle School.
Great. So Carolyn, come on down here. You're next. Hurry up.
I gotta talk on Tuesday.
Come on, Carolyn. You got to get down here before you finish your flask. Come on.
No, you want her after she's...
No.
That's better.
This is the indefatigable Carolyn Moon. She's our Molly Brown. If you know anything about Molly Brown, if you've ever seen that version of Titanic, she's our Molly Brown. She's undefeatable. So Carolyn, you've been a long-time Corpus resident, and you've been involved with the progressive movement here since the beginning. Tell us about why you hang around with us instead of the blue dog conservatives.
Well, because they won't have me. I try to be polite, but sometimes I can't help it. I find it necessary to get sarcastic. And they don't get it. And that's probably why. Actually, I've always been a Democrat. Well, since 1957, when I saw Richard Nixon on the TV. And didn't like it.
Right.
And my family was Republican, but I think that was because they were afraid of socialized. And my cousins down here are still Republicans, but Lord knows why. However, the group around here tends to think like I think, and on a whole lot of different things. My problem is always that I get my nose into too many different things. I got my nose into civil rights and the environment and anti-war back in 1968. I was up in Albany, New York, and we were running the Hudson River Sloop Clearwater.
I remember that.
I helped launch it up in Kennebunkport. And the Albany Record Union said that we were, with Pete Seeger going up and down the river, recruiting communists. So I was pretty proud. And actually, we did start clean. It took a while, but the meat packing plant quit dumping all its fat into the river. That didn't take long at all. All we had to do is point out to them that was nasty. It had never occurred to them before. I was just discussing over here how a lot of things we don't think about.
Right.
In the 80s,
sit over there, Ann.
We started doing, they started putting toothpaste in plastic tubes. And I'm using this to say we don't hate all plastic.
Right.
And I remember it was the 80s because you'd squeeze the tube and all the toothpaste would come out the wrong end, and Colgate sent me a lot of free tubes of toothpaste. They finally got it right. But I never quite liked those plastic toothpaste tubes as much as I did the old ones. Until I figured out what the old ones were made of, which was lead.
That's right.
We're talking about us over there at the Democratic Party.
Well, sit down, because we're doing a TV show. Sit down, you're on TV.
Oh, no!
Yes, sit down.
The beauty shop.
That's okay, sit down. This is one of our great long-term activists, Ann Smith. Her and Carolyn both have been here a long time, been involved in a lot of stuff. Ann's been kind of the unofficial media person for most progressive causes for how many years, Ann?
I haven't been active but since about
3.5 weeks.
Yeah. No, about 8 or 9 years.
8 or 9 years.
I wasn't that active, but yeah, the journalism was my background. But I'm not very good at it anymore.
Well, you've been great. You've been great, helped a lot of causes and getting their message out. You've been involved with Las Brisas. You've been involved in anti-war. You've been involved, and this is about who progressives are and what they believe in and what. Right. So feel free to tell us.
Make the world a better place. I learned that in Girl Scouts.
Okay.
I'm still a Girl Scout.
You know, really.
Too.
Yeah, it really is kind of simple. I mean, it's the more complicated you try to make it, there's got to be an ulterior motive.
Yeah, it's supposed to get better, and it's getting better, and we're making the Democrats are going to be better this year.
Yeah.
We're going to go out there and kick, you know what.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, and we were talking about that stuff.
Do you think that, you know, one of the things I think has been an argument within the Democratic Party is the progressive, you know, the fight has been the last few years in the Democratic Party. Should we be more like Republicans or should we be more like progressives?
God help us, no.
Well, you know, actually, that's not the fight. What's happened in the last few election cycles is that people started listening to consultants.
Right.
And these consultants said, oh, don't say anything substantial because somebody somewhere will not like you.
Right.
Well, that doesn't work that way. If you stand for something, stand for it.
Right.
Like bless his heart, Bill White is a fabulous person. And I didn't recognize the man who ran for governor because he was listening to all these consultants, and the Democratic Party was going, shh, don't say anything scary. And nobody cared enough to vote for it. And that's basically what happened.
They didn't care to vote for him.
Hey, Dave,
Care to vote.
come on over here.
Period.
Well, that's hard.
Come on over here. Talk about ACLU.
Yeah, they didn't bother him. Of course,
Where'd they get all the names? I got my letter, would you like to trade ACLU, complete with a constitution that I can, treasure for the rest of my life.
Come on. Talk about ACLU.
I'm a card-carrying member. Are you?
Come.
I was till they made me mad about the not paying attention
Henry, come on over
to
here.
our slap suit for the city.
Waylon, come over here. Waylon, come over here.
Yeah. I'm mad at the ACLU right now
Why?
because we asked them for help
Go over here and sit.
on the slap suit that Carlos Valdez and the city
Uh-huh,
put
uh-huh.
against the Friends of the Coliseum,
Yeah.
and they kind of went, eh.
Yeah, well, that's kind of not their bag, I think.
Well, it better be. That's a First Amendment. right.
Well, I know. Sit down. Jake, get away.
The right of assembly, which
Yeah.
is what we were assembly, and the right to petition the government in case of grievances, and that's what we did.
Right.
And
They elected.
They look at it, I think they're looking at it more as a historical site
No
fight.
real meaning. They were the ones who decided that they would postpone. They are the ones who decided.
no, they didn't decide they would postpone.
We're
We
gonna,
got an injunction,
Okay, all right. Court decided.
and
Then the court. Let them sue the court.
well, they can't.
Well, I know.
so one of the fights you can tell the progressives were involved in here was the Coliseum fight. And we'll talk to George Clower in a little bit.
Yeah.
Ask, we need George and we need Abel out here too. This
Yeah, this is Wayman Tools.
is Wayman Tools, and Wayman's head of the Black Democrats, Wastes County Black Democrats.
That's right, that's right.
And tell us a little bit why you kind of hang around with these progressives here.
I'm part of a bigger.
You're progressive too, right? That's right.
No fish in a big pool up there.
So, tell us one of your major issues that you are involved in politically. What's the main things that drive you politically?
I'm concerned about who is the President of the United States and also who is Commander-in-Chief of our forces. I'm a military retiree.
Uh-huh.
So I'm real concerned about that.
Okay, I'm going to move a little closer and this way see if I can get away from that air conditioner and that noise. We're probably going to pick that up.
Okay.
So, you're all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a military retiree, so I'm mainly concerned about who gets to be the Commander-in-Chief of our forces.
All right. What's your opinion of Obama?
Oh, I think it's great. He's just a magical person at the right time and the right place.
Okay. There's some disagreement in the Democratic Party about whether, do you think that anybody will desert Obama when it really comes down to it in the election?
Well, I don't know, but if they do, sorry for them.
It wouldn't be good. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that Mitt Romney would be a good trade-off.
Not that I certainly don't.
Nobody who hadn't been drinking the mercury.
All right. Anything else you want to say, Wayman, about progressive politics or Black Democrat, Wastes County Black Democrats?
Elected Congress representative from the 27.
What's tell me, the Wastes County Black Democrats is a fairly new group, isn't it?
Yeah, they've had groups to come and go and over the years, and so we're relatively new, but we're here to stay.
Good. Glad to have you. All right, we're going to walk in here. Let's see if we can get some other people. We got to get better lighting too while we're at it. And this is Dave. Dave was head of the chapter of ACLU here. Dave, I know you didn't want to say anything, but that's too bad. Tell us about your involvement here in progressive movement and ACLU involvement and that kind of thing. All right, we're walking through the Progressive Center, and let's see here. We're going to try to capture some people. All right, who hasn't been interviewed? Eyes. Come on. Yes, come on. Yes, come on. We're trying to get a cross-section of the group.
Let me get some wine.
Okay. All right, here's Jim again, and let's see who else we got here. Abel Cavada, come here. You got to get interviewed. Jaime, you too. Abel and Jaime. So we have this is Drinking Liberally, which is get together every get together once a month and talk politics and drink your favorite libation. This is Abel Cavada. Let's see if we can get a little better light here. Turn around here this way, Abel. Okay. Trying to get some decent light. It's kind of difficult here. Let's go here by the stairway. This is a moving tour here we're doing. So we're filming a show for Voices of the Coastal Bend for Mark DiCarlo. Okay. And tonight we're here at the Progressive Center, and what we're doing is we're interviewing progressives and asking them what makes them a progressive. What are the issues that drive them, and what does being a progressive mean to them?
Well, to me, a progressive, you have to, kind of choose sides. Mm-hmm. You choose people's issues, or you choose corporate issues. I don't think there's anything in between, unless it's for pragmatism. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, if your focus is on corporations and business and money and all that, as a politician, then you are clearly on the side of Republicans, clearly on the side of the reactionaries and the right wing. If you're concerned about social issues like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and things that for the people that are pushed out of the system,
and income equity in general, right? I mean, it's also an issue of income equity, period, right?
Well, that's kind of built into the distinction between corporate and
right.
Perspective. People with the money tend to be the corporatists, and everybody else who's working class or struggling to stay in the working class. Mm-hmm. So a progressive is clearly on the side of the working class and oppressed people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it is. And
personal
so
freedom.
If you're progressive, your perspective is justice issues of all kinds, economic justice, social justice, and the economic issues, of course, are important, but they're very important because we need to participate in the system in a meaningful way that where we participate in the system and can make a living.
Right.
And there's people out there on the right who don't want us to make a living. They want us disorganized. They want us insecure about our families and economics, and that helps the
fearful and dependent.
Yeah, but it helps the ruling class when people are insecure and unable to support themselves.
Now, you've been involved in progressive politics for a long time, going back to La Raza, right?
Yeah, back to the 70s.
And what has anything changed? Let me ask you, what's changed, if anything? Yeah.
Well, the main thing that's changed is, back then we had a whole lot of idealism and a lot of, we felt actually in a position of power by our numbers. Mm-hmm. But things changed in a major way in the last 40 years, in that money has more impact than people, and so it's back then we looked at there were two sources of power: political power and economic power. Mm-hmm. We didn't have economic power, mm-hmm. but we could get political power. Mm-hmm. But now, the way for the last 40 years, the way the Republicans and the right wing they've merged the money and politics to a point where they're one, and it's very hard to break into it because of the money aspect of it. That's a major change that's happened in the last 40 years.
Yeah, and
There's more power in the old days.
And the massive media, corporate control of the media on top of that just kind of sealed the cake.
That's part of the corporate equation, where the media was a bit more independent.
Not a lot, but a little bit.
A whole lot more, but we had things like equal time and all that in media, and then that ended, in the Reagan days.
Right.
It's been 30 years now.
Right.
And it got progressively worse with subsequent, administrations, including actually Democratic administrations.
Absolutely. I know that bottom line is probably most progressives this fall are going to go to the polls and pull the lever for Obama, but I know there's also some issues with Obama, and I know you're one of those folks who has some. I've had some, and I don't think that people talk about, hey, it may not be the choice we'd want, but he's way better than the other guy, and I think it's fair to talk about those things, though.
It's a matter. It's a matter of degrees. It's not major. It's not a major difference between the two parties or the two candidates.
Right.
The differences seem to be cosmetic, but even the cosmetics are important. That's all we can get.
Right.
Things like immigration reform or marriage equality and those things, they don't really change the power structure, even if it's granted to, those groups, like, marriage equality.
You're still going to have to pick from the two candidates that are picked by the corporations.
You still have to, and you still have to deal with corporate power across the board. Democrats, at the highest levels are still corporatists. At the lower levels, you tend to have, a diversity of ideas, and you get a lot of progressives at the lower levels of the, in the system. But at the highest levels, man, there's very little difference. They're both war parties. There's no distinction there as far as I can see. But on the social issues, the Democrats, including Obama, tend to be, a little bit liberal or a little progressive. But that doesn't change the power structure. It doesn't substantially change the whole system.
It certainly doesn't impact the idea that capitalism is the only discussion allowed either. One of the things that's, I think, kind of interesting is that, the political spectrum here is really pretty reduced compared to other places in the world.
In times of severe crisis, social programs or socialistic policies tend to salvage capitalism, salvage the system, even if that socialism is given to the capitalists.
Right.
Like the bankers in Wall Street.
Sure.
And all that. That's socialism for the rich.
Right.
And even that helps, salvage the system. It also works if you give it to people. It works either way, apparently.
Yeah.
I think it'll work better if you give it to people because they can spend the money and they'll make the economy move.
It'll make the economy more dynamic. Right now, the economy is not dynamic.
And the capitalists and the bankers, you help them and say, okay, they save the system from total collapse, but they pocket the money and they don't really spread it around.
Right. Didn't do what they're supposed to.
They're not job creators like they think.
No. No. One other thing I was going to ask you is, see, what was it here? It was about we were talking about the differences between the Democrats and Republican, and my kind of thought was that I want to see what you think about this, was that basically the difference when it comes to social programs is they both believe in capitalism. The Democrats just believe in feeding the people at a subsistence level that they throw out of work, where the Republicans would let them starve.
Generally, that's a distinction, except there are some progressive Democrats. They have a caucus.
Yeah.
And if anything, it happens progressive in the Congress is because of them.
Let me ask you this.
And they push and they do the stuff. They're not a majority by any means, but they have a lot of courage.
Right, Dennis Kucinich and some other folks.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders, who caucuses with the Democrats.
Yeah.
Who's a socialist.
But they're not the majority.
Let me ask you this. what would you like to say about the idea that Obama is a socialist?
Absolutely absurd.
Is he even a progressive?
Not a progressive either. And I think historically what we've learned, and just by observation, is that when something progressive happens in our system, in our political system, it's not because of who we elect, it's because of mass action, because of agitation, because of pressure, organizing, demonstrations, and things like that, where politicians, even if they're progressive, need to be pushed into doing the right thing. And so, Obama's like that too. And all presidents, even Republican presidents in the past, have given into public pressure, ending a war, pushing for, Social Security, pushing for veterans benefits and stuff like that. It doesn't happen by itself.
Right.
It doesn't happen because of the grace of the politician, but it happens because of mass action and pressure, political pressure, and constant agitation. Good examples of that are recent decisions by Obama to do the right thing finally on immigration, for example, on the DREAM Act. He basically, doing it administratively. He has the power to do it. He's always had the power to do it. And it might be politically expedient, but it'd be much easier just to shy away from the issue. So, but he's done it because people have been pressured. There's people around the country that are organizing and are demanding it. The other issue is the marriage equality issue. He was pushed into that, and finally he just decided, okay, maybe it's time to do that.
Yeah,
but they don't do it in a void. They do those things, because of agitation and pressure.
Well, and people complain that, they say, well, he's doing that to satisfy an special interest group for the election. But isn't that what politics is about?
Absolutely.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
It's like the move to amend the Constitution. That will happen eventually, in my opinion, simply because people will eventually snap and understand it, and the politicians will give in to the pressure because there's organizing all across the country, and eventually that's going to give in too. They got to give in to it.
Right.
They have to. There's no question. It's just a matter of when. Just like the immigration issue, just like the marriage equality issue, it's going to happen.
I think a lot of people are. Kobe, stick around. Kobe, stick around. A lot of people on the right, and especially Tea Partiers, are going to eventually come over to that move to amend, because a lot of them get the corporatism thing. They do. They understand that. But they don't fully understand how it's controlling the government yet.
They understand it enough to actually change course.
But I think some individuals within that structure may start to fade away as they get more
manipulated, because they're a different breed of people. Because conservatives are very
fear-driven though.
They're also simple-minded, and they understand the simple issues, and so that makes them easy to organize.
Yeah, there was a recent study that showed that.
We can never count on them to do the right thing, so we just need to organize them. And because you can't change them, and you can't expect them to join you on any issue, even especially voting. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Even if they understand the issue, they won't understand it enough to change their behavior.
Cool. Well, thank you. Kobe, you're next. Come over here.
Wait, is that a camera?
Yeah, it's a camera. That's a camera. Come over here where you get a good light. Huh? Hey, guys. Go in the other room. Golly, we come here because there's no one here to talk. We can talk and hear it, and everybody comes in here to talk. So, anyway, this is Kobe. Kobe, what's your last name? Huh? Dees. And you've been hanging around the progressives. Now, you're a military veteran, right?
Yes.
U.S. Navy?
Yes.
And so how come you're hanging around these bunch of radicals?
Because I believe in the ideas of the progressives.
And what are some of those ideas that you believe in?
Well, making life better, social justice, making sure everyone has the same opportunities, and equality. just social equality and economic equality.
What kind of things have you been involved in here with progressives or other groups, progressive groups, that where you're actively involved in stuff and trying to bring about change?
A lot of what I do involves the LGBT community and trying to get equality there.
Okay, speak up, because some people are rudely speaking in the background, which is making it hard for the camera to catch the sound. Thank you. Go ahead.
Some bitch. Anybody talking in this building?
Go ahead.
I was involved with the chapter of Stonewall Democrats here, and now I'm a community organizer for Get Equal, Texas, and a lot of people, it's a lot of education for people. A lot of people don't know that in the state of Texas and many other states, people kind of just assume that we have employment protections, and we don't. You can be fired in the state of Texas for being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender if your boss finds out.
Period. No ifs, ands, buts.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't have anything to do with your work performance. Your boss can tell you, oh, I heard you're gay, so you're fired.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
If we got employment protections, so for instance, if Obama would sign the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, then we would finally, be able to fight that. Companies would no longer be able to fire people for that reason.
You still have to prove it in a court of law, right? I mean, it's not an easy thing, even if it gets passed.
Yeah, and that's true, but it would make it at least harder.
Right.
And a lot of companies are seeing the value in having inclusive employment policies, because that attracts talent and makes jobs more competitive, and people are more likely to want to work there.
Well, just last week there was a kind of a controversy about the fact that one of the retail stores, I don't remember who it was, Penny's or somebody, had ran an advertising campaign aimed at gay couples. And a lot of the churches had came back out. Well, who was it now?
JCPenney's?
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw that. What's your reaction to that and the reaction to it?
I thought it was great that they did that, because our families do exist. We are here, and we do spend money. And we're going to try to spend it at companies that respect us and acknowledge us. And the backlash on that was just ridiculous. Just taking, not seeing us doesn't mean we don't exist.
Right.
And but now, I'm much more likely, if I need, a new shirt, I'm going to go to JCPenney's and buy it, because I know that they're a good company. And a lot of people are becoming more aware of where they shop, and I think that can make, a big difference.
Vote with your dollars, yeah.
Pretty much. And so I actually just found out that General Mills, they're trying to boycott that because they have an inclusive policy that includes sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. And I sent them comments, contacted them to let them know that I appreciated that and I would be shopping their brands from now on.
Good. So you expect this, you think this economic kind of movement is going to, in the gay and lesbian community, is going to kind of grow? I mean, this is kind of new. This is kind of a new thing, I think. That's the first time I've seen a lot of try to use of economic power. I've seen it in other battles, but not in this one before.
Yeah, it's just educating the community about it and getting them to participate. And a lot of people, now they're finding out that, this company supports, like Pepsi's a really good company about it. And so, we try to, when we have, events and stuff, we try to buy from those companies. And when people start to realize where their money goes, they're much more likely to spend it in places that do have those policies.
Some companies already have accept spouses or partners for coverage and stuff too, don't they? Insurance and things like that. Some companies.
Pepsi's one of those companies.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about that is a progressive issue that's important to you?
Not that you put me on the spot. I can't think of it right now.
It's interesting. I was talking to somebody earlier, and it was kind of like you know, everybody here has kind of a different issue, but they all support each other's issues. I mean, like, their primary issue may be the environment or something else, but everybody supports each other because they have the same values. Would you say that's kind of true? It's kind of an amalgamation of issues, really.
Yeah, it's not something where you have to completely support exactly everything, or you're not part of the group.
Right.
It's you have your own ideas, and I think that's why progressivism is such a great, has made such great accomplishments, because people are allowed to think what they want and to believe in the things that they want, and you have many people covering a wide range of subjects.
So it's funny because, and we have some people here who are avid Second Amendment supporters, including myself, and I know Abel Cavada and a bunch of other people. So it's not, and other people who don't agree with that at all. So it is a mix, but it's interesting. I think that personal freedom and joint action seem to be the two primary driving philosophies.
Yeah, that's true. And we have people who they have their main issue that they kind of take a lead on, and then other people support it. And then another person will take a lead on another subject, and we kind of educate each other. And I think that's a real key to getting things done.
So it's not a real top-down kind of structure at all, huh?
No, it's very bottom up, and I think that's the way that change is created. It's from the bottom. You can't build a house from ceiling down.
So kind of, if somebody has an idea and a group supports the idea, and that person's willing to lead it, it happens, right?
Yeah, I actually suggested during the meeting today about having a friend of mine from Equality, Texas, come down and do a lobbying training for voters that will teach them how to approach their representatives and build relationships with them and to voice their concerns about issues. Because a lot of legislators don't hear from their constituents, and so they don't know how they want them to vote, and they're not held accountable. And he actually brought up a very interesting point that every person who sees their legislator counts as 1,000 people who didn't come in. And so they take that fairly seriously, from what I've heard. And so, I suggested having that if the PBC would support it, and they said that they would.
Good.
So I'll be in charge of organizing.
That's the only thing around here is if you bring up an idea, they're willing to do it, but you're in charge. That's good.
Yeah, you don't have a few people doing all the work.
Right.
Everyone takes the lead on their ideas that they are passionate about.
Well, it also, I think, builds leadership skills.
Yes, that's very true too. I was never really used to being in a leadership position, and then I got involved, and suddenly I was learning.
Thanks, Kobe, for everything.
No problem.
All right. I think that's what about wraps up our time. Mark DiCarlo is going to have to fill in whatever's left. And there's, oh my God, and there's Jake. There's Jake, the progressive dog. So we'll give him a little air time here.
Is it Hank, Mark's brother?
All right. And there's Hank, Mark's brother. Okay.
I won't say nothing.
There, you can edit him out if you want. He's at the end of the film.
I don't want to embarrass you.
All right, and we have groups going on in there, and they're working on another project. As you can see, there's a number of people in there working on projects, and so this goes on. This goes on every week, and we meet the third Thursday of every month. Is that right? No, it's the last Thursday of every month. Which is it, Henry? It's the last Thursday?
Third Thursday of every month.
The third Thursday of every month at 413 Waco at the Progressive Center. And the PPC meeting is at 6 o'clock, Progressive Populist Caucus, and at 7 and begins drinking liberally. So come on, you have to bring your own beer. Bye.
There's a valley in Spain called Jarama. It's a place that we all know so well. It was there that we fought against the fascists. We saw a peaceful valley turn to hell. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free for we're through. We were men of the Lincoln Battalion. We're proud of the fight that we made. We know that you people of the valley will remember our Lincoln Brigade. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost that battle at Harama, we will set this valley free before we're through. You will never find peace with these fascists. You will never find friends such as we. So remember that valley of Harama and the people that'll set that valley free. From this valley they say that we're going. Don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. All this world is like this valley called Harama, so green and so bright and so fair. No fascist can dwell in our valley, nor breathe in our new freedom's air. From this valley they say that we're going. Do not hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. There's a valley in Spain called Harama. It's a place that we all know so well. It was there that we fought against the fascists. We saw a peaceful valley turn to hell. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. We were men of the Lincoln Battalion. We're proud of the fight that we made. We know that you people of the valley will remember our Lincoln Brigade. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost that battle at Harama, we will set this valley free before we're through. You will never find peace with these fascists. You will never find friends such as we. So remember that valley of Harama and the people that'll set that valley free. From this valley they say that we're going. Don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. All this world is like this valley called Harama, so green and so bright and so fair. No fascist can dwell in our valley, nor breathe in our new freedom's air. From this valley they say that we're going. Do not hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. There's a valley in Spain called Jarama. It's a place that we all know so well. It was there that we fought against the fascists. We saw a peaceful valley turn to hell. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free, for we're